what is happening there? G squared? G is alone tonight. Garrett had prior obligations, couldn't be here. I had prior obligations. It was Tater's birthday. Happy 23rd birthday, Tater. We went down to Tsunami, my old stomping grounds. That was a good time. Grubbed the hell out. Got super full on some sushi and have some hibachi steak and shrimp that I'm going to grub out on here in a few minutes. But didn't want to be one of those podcasts that takes a little break just because stuff's going on. You know, my other league, they got stuff going on too, and there's not a podcast in there. And I was like, you know what? We're not going to do that because I know y'all need content. Y'all have to hear about how good or shitty y'all's teams did last week, or like what kind of bullshit advice I can give you going forward, which doesn't really matter at all. But you know what? I'm here for you. I'm dedicated to this. I love the fact that y'all love this, and I'll continue to do it as long as until y'all get bored with me talking. So I actually have my own little segment that I'm going to throw in there in the middle, given that it is an election, and I thought it'd be kind of funny to spice it up a little bit. Also wanted to make it a point that I didn't get too drunk tonight, so y'all couldn't understand what I was saying. I apologize for last week. I was on a lot of Dayquil, going through all the old cold BS and stuff. So like that mixed with how many Jaeger bombs I intake normally. Went back and watched the tape and didn't sound as good. The Hitmen and Michelle and Troika in the background kind of helped our show out a lot. So I appreciate you guys for that. But starting with that. Hey, goodbye. We did everything we could for the Hitmen. I've been boosting them up weeks straight. And honestly, like, if it's not complete nail in the coffin, like, it's pretty close to it, which was our game of the week last week. Mahomes alone, Michelle, and old Southside Hitman. 105.5 to 80. Michelle's team did what they do typically. 52 points from Derrick Henry and Patrick Mahomes. Difference in this game, Southside lost by 25. New England Patriots defense got 27. And that's what's going to happen. Like, Michelle is smart enough to know that in this league, it's really hard to get depth, and like you're not always going to have the best tight ends or wide receivers or running backs or whatever, but you get a stud quarterback, stud running back, and the difference is a lot of times it's going to be your defense and kicker. Ryan Succop's always going to be good for her, and in this case, New England Patriots showed up, and that was the difference in the game. And it's kind of funny because that's the same strategy that Hitman took last year that got him all the way to the championship game. He rode the Mahomes, Kelsey, and then he did the little things right. And what's screwing him right now, and what me and Garrett have been promising, like, yo, stick with it, it's going to come, divorce papers, yada, yada, yada. We've been beating it to death. We've been beating a dead horse to death with the Brady and the Bucks, and they just hadn't shown up. Like, at the end of the game last week, it was all cute and it was good that, you know, Brady led that touchdown drive at the end, and maybe that's a good sign of things going forward for the Bucks. As far as fantasy goes, I'm still not convinced, and that might be a nail in my coffin later in the season too, because I'm so dependent on them with Godwin and Evans. But, you know, that's the cross we bear as Bucks connoisseurs, and you're gonna have to ride it out. But Michelle 6-3 now. I think that was a huge win for her going forward. She was all doom and gloom on her team, but I think she's going to be okay. Hitman, it's pretty much win out territory. So we'll talk about him more later. But congrats to Michelle for a big win. When everybody was talking shit, we had all the chant going, and, you know, still able to pull it out. Going to my game. No news here. The Witch had his witching powers. You know, I made it fun with Tua and Waddle because they're fun. But like I said, Evans and Godwin underperform like they always do. With no, I'm not making any excuses. This is just what the Witch does. With Barkley and McCaffrey on a bye, he took advantage. He didn't score a lot of points because he didn't have to. Like, he saves his points too when he knows he can. So he got his standard from Cooper Kupp and Geno. He got 18.8, and Juju is looking pretty good too. So I was down by 15 going into the Monday night game, and kicker got a couple field goals early on, but then the game got weird, so I kind of lost out a chance on that to make it fun. But congrats to the Witch, 6-3. Moving on, we got a performance of the week. Tank's team, who was on pace at one point after the 1 o'clock games to maybe break the league record. Now, I talked to Troika and Garrett about this on Sunday. I was curious to see what the league record was. Now, my high score game is 161, 162, and Garrett's is 160. And I know, in the last 3 years, we've been probably some of the highest scorers. I would love to see a 200-point game. And I texted Tank earlier. I was like, dude, you might have a chance to be the first 200-point game. It's awesome. He got a 147, but that was more than enough. And it's sad to say for Shoei, because Shoei's team did what it needed to do. 104 points. That can win you a lot of weeks. But when Mixon has 54 and Devontae Adams has 32, you can call it a night. Tank Stud showed up this week, showed why he has a chance to be one of the better teams in this league, and he got a win in a much-needed way to get back on track. He is now 5-4. Shoei, same spot as a Hitman, 2-7. Pretty much needs to win out or maybe lose one more game or they're done. We got Big Vibes versus Wade Tripp, the fake Wade Tripp. It's actually Jensen. Just confused everybody this week. I actually kind of thought it was funny. I enjoyed that. This was probably the closest. I take that back. I really take that back. There's a couple other really close games. 3-point game, though. And when a 3-point game is the third closest game, you had a pretty fun week. Gordo edged it out. And he's going to ride this train till it dies. Kenneth Walker, the stud from Michigan State, who I always loved, and I'm killing myself in both leagues that I didn't draft him because he's 8-1, he's on Seahawks. We talked about this last week. I didn't have any faith in the Seahawks. And B number 2, he wasn't even the starter, and just everything fell into place. And lo and behold, we have our next best running back in the league for the future to come. Kenneth Walker, 27.4 points. Burrow did his thing, 17. Olave did okay, 2 of 10. On the other side, Jensen had Josh Allen, Johnson, but not much after that. His third leading scorer was his kicker, so I think Jensen's going to be okay. But I'm going to dive deeper into teams, how I feel about them going forward whenever we do our picks for this week. So I'm just going to do a little quick recap of these games and just kind of keep it short, All right, but tough break for Jensen, but he's 5-4 now. This will be okay. And Gordo's now 4-5, so he's not everybody at everybody's ankles like he always does this time of year. Never count Gordo out. He's always going to be there right at the end. Try to fuck shit up. Now, holy crap. Maybe the game of the year. We got Garrett. Saved his season. Brought it at 4-5. Garrett's 4-5. That's crazy. Garrett has a squad now. That's what Garrett does every year. I talked about it earlier. Talked about it all season. He drafts shitty. And that's why I purposely talk shit about his team. Because I'm not wrong. He does not have a good team. Until about 3/4 of the way. And you start looking at it and you see all those trades, all these ads, and everything that he's done this whole year starts to add up. And you look at it and you're like, holy shit, dude. Your team's actually pretty good. And you're in the playoff run. And lo and behold, he's in the fucking championship race. He does this every year. He pays attention. And paying attention will take you a long way, guys. Garrett can write the fucking handbook on this. But Garrett took down the stud, Troika. holy shit, the 8-0, we finally had all of our unbeatens are done. 8-1 now. We beat them by a .2. We were watching it on Monday night. Troika got a shit end of the stick a little bit with Justin Tucker. With how that game flow went, it made it really fun. There was a couple times Garrett was really biting his nails a little bit, but you know what? For the sake of the season, Garrett, you earned it. You scored 117.3. I really thought this was going to be Eckler's revenge game. Eckler got 21.6. Diggs got 11.8. So he outscored him by 9. Garrett was able to find places and spots to get it done. And honestly, the biggest proponent of this is that Garrett has a quarterback starting for him right now that anybody in our league could have had. Anybody in our league could have had on their bench the whole year. Hit him in half. Justin Fields, 46.8. Garrett found him, stashed him, started him at the right time. That was the difference. This is why Garrett constantly does well in this league, is that he sticks with it. He doesn't give up. And here you are. He's sitting at 4-5 with a quarterback who just had almost 47 points, who's hitting his stride, with the Bears, whose defense sucks. So Fields is going to have to put up points, which is the opposite of any Bears quarterback ever in the history of fantasy since I've been alive. So this is where we're at now. And yeah, watch out, league. And Troika, I don't think he has anything to worry about. I think his team's absolutely fine. I love the undefeated streak going, but if you're going to lose one, might as well lose it now. And, throw Garrett a bone, like my dad says, so Michelle, like give him some extra 11 later or something. Another super tight game. JC's meat and Baker's doesn't. And damn, we called this elimination game, and it might have been. Jerry, shit, on the real close into the stick. Kenyon Drake almost came back and won this for Jerry. Kenyon Drake, 23.9. Jerry lost by 1.5. Kenyon Drake balled out on Monday night, and he barely fell short. And that kind of seems to be like what Jerry's season has been. And I feel for him, man, because I know he tries or whatever. And I know JC had a must-win game. And so it looks like right now, like JC has a better chance to make the playoffs if one of these two teams are going to make it. But like I said, there's enough time. If you win out, you still have a chance. And last game this week, we got ass-eating season. Was his ETN puns actually looking a lot better now, because ETN has been a stud for Mark, and I think he continued to be one. And I think DeAndre Hopkins come back has panned out like we said. 111 is good for you most weeks. Graham hates my name. That's my favorite name of the season. Wade, you have just won the best team name award. I love it. 125 points. You're not going to lose a lot of teams. I think the kind of what's the right word? Anomaly. He beat Mark by 13. Cole Kmet got 19.5. That's nice, and I'm glad. Good for you for winning this game. In the long run, Cole Kmet's not gonna get 19.5 every week. And I think that Otten got 15.3. I 100% think that Otten has a better chance of matching those numbers with Brady and how they've been playing in that offense, rather than Cole Kmet getting 2 touchdowns every game for the Bears. I think Fields' points are going to come on rushing yards and going to Mooney, and they just got a kid from Pittsburgh. What's his name? Chase Claypool. So I could be wrong though, and like I said, Wade still has Jalen Hurts. I think that team's good enough too that they don't need Hurts to do everything. It'll be funny to see how it goes down the stretch. I think Wade's in perfect position. Mark's in perfect position. Wade, I love that you took the joking manner about your team name. I love that. And congrats to both y'all, because I think you're both playoff teams. So that's the end of this week's recap. I'm going to come back with y'all here in a second for a little bit of like a Graham segment, which I think y'all might find funny, election season funny. And then we'll wrap it up with this week's pick'em. So stay tuned.